Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Snews here at LonghornStation.com. I'm Ahmad Brooks, John Vidani. We are the Wake Up Call Monday through Friday on the Longhorn Station, AM 1300, The Zone. Today, we're talking about the Big 12 and the potential expansion or the luring of new member schools, if in fact the rumors are true that Missouri and Nebraska, among others, may look for greener pastures. Today, on this Top 5 Tuesday, our list of the 5 teams we would go after if we were in charge of the Big 12. Your Honor, Your Honor.
Number 5 for me, Colorado State. I like the fact that you can have in-state rivals in your conference. Colorado State has been very competitive over the last 5 or 6 years with Colorado, a team and a program, by the way, that has won that North Division. So if Colorado is capable of winning it, I would think that a team that's been very competitive like Colorado State would have every right to say and have a good argument to say, hey, Big 12, come look at us. Why not? Colorado State, number 5 for me.
Sonny Lubick had him playing well when he was there. Number 5 for me, Arizona State. Arizona State, aren't they in? Yeah, they are in. They're the southernmost team in that Pac-10 conference. That gives us a chance to dominate the southwest region of the United States geographically. Phoenix is the number 12 TV market, and as Bruce Snyder, former coach, and even current coach Dennis Erickson has shown us. Is Dennis Erickson still at Arizona State? Yeah, he sure is. It's just been a few years since they were good again. But again, they've shown us Arizona State can play some ball. High academic standards as well. I think the Big 12 would be happy with that. Arizona State, number 5 on my list.
I'm going to go to another team in Texas. I know some people don't think that it makes a lot of sense to try to go after the Houston market, but I think that if you can increase the competitive nature of the Big 12 North, everybody benefits. You look at teams like conferences like the SEC, the Big 10. Why are they killing us when it comes to money? They're killing us because it's a more competitive conference. If you get better teams, doesn't matter where they come from. Texas has the largest states with the most D1 college schools here in the country. It makes sense. It's a big state. Houston has performed very well. They knocked out Oklahoma State in Stillwater. That's one of the top teams in the South. I think if you can do that, you can go to the North and compete with teams. There's only one team in the North that I feel that they might not be able to compete with, and that's Nebraska. Aside from that, I think Houston could go to the North right now and run the North.
As long as UTEP and Central Florida aren't there. Number 4 on my list is Arizona. Arizona. Yeah, well, if we're going to go after Arizona State and get Phoenix, why not just usurp the whole damn state? At Arizona, remember Operation Desert Swarm?
I do.
I realize that Arizona is the only Pac-10 school never to compete in the Rose Bowl. So they're not missing anything. They've never been there anyway. And if we take Arizona and Arizona State away from the Pac-10 becomes more of a LA and North league. Let them add other schools and let us have Arizona State. Then from there to New Mexico into Texas, that whole region will be Big 12 country. Arizona, number 4 on my list of dominating the world.
Number 3 for me, Minnesota. You know, if the Big 10 is going to try to come pick on you, Big 12, go try to pick on them. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I mean, you have a program that's on the rise, just got some brand new facilities, and I do think that Tim Brewster is a guy who can recruit. He's very familiar with this region, having spent time here at the University of Texas. And I think also, no matter who it is, when you come into this region, you can recruit in this region because you can tell kids out of Texas, you can tell kids out of Oklahoma, hey, you know what? We're going to play against those programs every year. You want to see your family, you want to see your folks, come to my school and we can get it done. And I just think the Gophers are a program that are on the rise. At some point, they're going to compete for a Big 10 championship. And I know people are thinking, no way. Just watch and see. Number 3 for me, Minnesota Gophers.
And they got a brand new stadium. Put some money behind that program. South Florida. South Florida.
I like South Florida.
Yeah, South Florida. South Florida. You watch South Florida lately? You see how many guys are. They just had a kid drafted in the top 12 picks of the NFL draft. Been very competitive. Now, Jim Leavitt was just ushered out. They've got a brand new head coach coming in there. Something by the last name of Holtz. I forget his name. I think his daddy coached a little bit. But anyway, South Florida. Why? Tampa, St. Petersburg. TV market number 13. That's a big part of my emphasis on these picks. Number 2. The Big East is breaking up anyway. There's rumors all over the place about Pitt and Rutgers and Syracuse and all these other schools leaving. So the Big East is going to break up anyway. Somebody might as well grab South Florida. And number 3, alums get to party in Tampa every couple of years instead of going to Ames, Iowa. South Florida, number 3 on my list.
Number 2 for me is Arkansas. I know you Razorback fans are thinking, well, why would they leave the SEC? They would leave the SEC because it's too competitive. And if you're Arkansas, how does it sound that you win the Big 12 North, Texas wins the Big 12 South, and all of a sudden that rivalry is renewed? I didn't play in that game as a rival game. I played them in the Cotton Bowl, And I'll never forget how our fans responded to Arkansas. There is a love-hate relationship that exists there that is very hard to explain. But Arkansas is a team that they beat in that North Division and compete right now for a title. They're in the SEC and kind of find themselves kind of caught up in the shuffle. Makes perfect sense to me. Why not bring a program from the SEC? I think the Big 12, maybe they have the reputation that they could do that. Number 2 for me, Arkansas.
You and I do have different focus, but it's different reasons, but they're still compelling. Again, I'm trying to grab TV markets and states. Number 2 on my list is Utah. The Utah Utes. Yes, the team that you saw win the Sugar Bowl, surprisingly. Yes, the program that spawned Urban Meyer's jump to Florida. I mean, they've been very good. Kyle Whittingham doing a good job up there, and they've been very competitive. Now, again, our criticisms of Utah and other schools in the Mountain West Conference and some of those other conferences are not that they can't compete with the big boys. It's that it would be harder for them to do it on a week-to-week basis.
It's true.
Let's see what you got. Let's give Utah the opportunity. They got those big Samoans on the line of scrimmage. They play a physical brand of football. I'm not disrespecting Utah. In fact, I'm inviting them to the party. And I want that Salt Lake City TV market. Number 2 on my list of expansion teams.
Number 1 for me, numero uno, Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm talking about the team that finished second in the Big Ten a year ago. You want to take a stab at us and try to go get Nebraska and try to go get Missouri? We'll go get your black and gold team and bring them over here. And doesn't it make sense to keep those in-state rivals? Once again, I said, if we're going to keep the lowly Iowa State Cyclones, at least put them where they can compete against their rival. I mean, because they're not helping this conference. They're really not. And I know they won their bowl game a year ago, but I just think the Iowa Hawkeyes are a good football team with a ton of potential. Ferentz has done a great job there of building that program. He's been there. This will be his 13th season. It's a stable program and also a program that could compete in the Big 12 North. Number 1 for me, the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Well, you saw me do it, Arizona State and then Arizona. I gave you Utah at number 2. Number 1 for me is BYU. BYU? What in the name of Lavelle Edwards are you talking about? I'm talking about when Utah plays on a Saturday and you get Salt Lake City and half of the state, when BYU plays, they gather a 4-state region. Them Mormons been rooting for BYU a long, long time. You got Steve Young on television every week with ESPN talking about the. Listen, they support that like no. First of all, if you can get BYU and Utah, oh man, I mean that's as good as A&M in Texas. I'm telling you, in terms of hate, in terms of a regional rivalry. Grabbing BYU gives you the state of Colorado, the state of Utah, Wyoming, Nevada. Every Saturday that they play, the TV sets tuned into BYU football is ridiculous. Might as well have the Big 12 network feasting on some of that. So BYU number 1 on my list. Lots of different reasons to add expansion. We're going to have to watch this story very closely. Again, reports that Missouri and Nebraska is seriously considering bolting to the Big 10. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Be sure to join us tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Out of here.
Wednesday edition of the Wake Up Call, AM 1300 The Zone. Fool's crazy.